I'm Adam Reynolds and I'm the owner of the Trinidad Carrera RS. The project will just evolve over time. Probably a 12-18 month project, and I think what is so interesting about this is that each time I see the car, I can see progress. I mean, sort of when we had it, it's gone backwards because we stripped it, and in the next few months we'll start putting the car back together again, and there'll be other things that will add to the car as we move forward. But it's just having the interest in over the next 18 months of seeing it from where it started to where it finishes. And I think there's so many times that people, or individuals, you buy a classic car. It's good if you can work on it yourself, but often people buy, a Concours Queen car, and it's done, and there's a bit of history in the file, but there's not a lot else. And I think the lovely thing about this is that I can see it from the start to the finish, and that's what excites me, and that's where the passion and the emotion of this car, that's what it's all about here. Where in the past, and I've still got a few, other classic cars, but I've bought them. And they've been great cars, and I've used them, but I've never had a project quite like this before. And this is the part that excites me more than anything else.
Okay, so we've got the Trinidad engine in today. The guys got it out a couple of days ago. Generally looking, it looks quite heavily corroded, paint flaking off. This has been painted before, and it's not its natural finish. Looks like there's been a rodent in there of some description. It's got up to the HT leads of the rubbers, and the same as around at the front here at the other end of the dizzy cap. It also looks like it's had a good chew on the top of the engine stacks and a scratch as well around a lot of the plastic or Bakelite sections. We've got a seized linkage system, so the butterflies might be seized in there, or the actual linkage itself is actually seized. I can't actually get that. You should be able to push that all the way down. That's what operates the throttle to give you acceleration. Extremely moist. I reckon it's just water, and it's just eating away at the aluminium and the metal inside the exhaust. It's just water that's just sat in there for God knows how many years. I've managed to get the engine apart. I've gave it a quick rinse off and clean where I can, just to get all the majority of the oil off. Some of it I've left dirty at the minute for before and after shots. I had a couple of issues with getting the engine apart. Normally, I've got a barrel and piston here. Normally the the piston will be moving up and down this here, but it was actually seized together through the corrosion due to water, or possibly even the rats that was living in the engine underneath the shroud. You can see where the rats had been and they're sat on, and all their urine caused corrosion to the barrel itself, and the actual stud was seized inside the fins of the barrel, and took quite a bit of effort to get the barrel off. It was also seized inside, and I had to disconnect the actual con rod from the crankshaft itself to actually get this barrel and piston off.
I'll just take you through the bits on the Trinidad car, so the bits we've taken off so far, what parts we're going to be reusing, replacing and restoring. So straight away, obviously, we've got the BBS wheels, they're not required. We've got window tinting on the glass. The glass is actually okay, it's just got a film on it, so that will come off. The external panel work, most of that is going to need stripping back. So the doors themselves, the inside frame looks pretty good, but the outside door skins where they're all blistered along the bottom here, as you see, there's large amounts of filler on that door. That skin will be replaced. But again, the inner frame is unique to these early cars, so it's, you know, it's worthwhile we keep those. Items that are detachable, like the wings, there is a little bit of rust and corrosion on those wings, but we need to assess them further, so those wings will get stripped. We want to try and use any of the external panels, so the bonnet, the wings, the bumpers, we want to try and keep them original. As you can see here, there's been some modifications to this bumper, but because it's the original bumper, we will work with what we've got and we'll make that look as it would have done when it left the factory. You know, you can buy a new bumper from Porsche. They are slightly different, and it's more important that we keep this part because it is, you know, it's original from the car. You know, we will spend longer restoring that, but it has more meaning to the car than a brand new item. As we start going through, you'll see the bright work here around the window frames. These have all been blacked out, so underneath that coating is a clear anodized finish. It looks a bit like chrome. Same again on the door handles. All of those will be stripped back and will be refinished. And anything that won't refinish because it maybe is too pitted, we'll have to buy some new items, but most of that will refinish. So some of the more detailed items on the car, like these arms here, these are steel. They've got a powder coat finish over the top, and it's just starting to flake off, and it's making the material rust. Once these have been fully stripped down, so it's just that arm on its own, we'll have them blast cleaned, primed and powder coated, and that will make them look like that finish. So a lot of the stuff, even though it looks like it's pretty rusty, is actually in very, very good condition. It just needs a cosmetic refinish. There are also other checks that we can do. We will make sure everything is straight. So we have a jig that this goes in, so we make sure it's straight and it's all functioning. All the hole sizes are the right diameters for the bearings. So that will have a full renovate. It won't just have a cosmetic, it will have new bushes, new bearings, everything to make it function like it did when it was new. Anything that's not powder coated, we will paint. So this is from another vehicle, but this is Coney red, this has got Bilstein on it, so any of these struts we can paint so they look the right colour. Other items that are bolted to these arms and various bits on the car, like nuts and bolts, obviously again they are a rusty finish, as you can see around here. So we can have these items replated, and that gives the finish that they would have had when they were new. It was more of a cadmium plating, but this is a passivate plating which we get done now. It looks similar, yeah, so that will make everything look nice and shiny and new. Some of the big obvious things you'll see, like the seats. The seats are definitely wrong era for the car, and they will be discarded. Some of the other trim items in the car, like the rear seats you see sat down here, and all the rear seating panelling in the car is actually in really good condition. So we will clean and reuse as much of that as we can. You know, a project like this, it's really about not chucking everything that's old away and putting a load of new stuff in. It's trying to keep the character of the car, but without making it look tatty. Same again goes on you know, like the front suspension, as we discussed with the back. You know, cosmetically it will be overhauled, but also mechanically we'll make sure that it's got new ball joints. The calipers have been overhauled with new seals and pistons. You know, it has to be cosmetic, but it also has to be mechanically functioning like it would have done when it was new.
Right, this is a 1973 915 gearbox. The oil has been drained, and we're going to remove the end casing and then hopefully remove the fifth and reverse gear set. Right, this is the selector plate removed. There is general mush on there, but no gearbox parts. Looking at this, we have an early gear shaft from the 915 gearbox. And nothing looks broken. We will have to strip to find out a little more. That's the removal of the differential. It's not a limited slip diff, and we will look at that again when we've cleaned it. But I can now see the crown wheel, or the pinion I should say, pinion shaft. I can also see marks on the teeth in here.